Hey guys, it's Eagle, and welcome back to another episode inside of Technological Journey. In the last episode, we did a lot. We started our nuclear processing, we built some multi-blocks, and we expanded our base a little bit. And I think we're going to get just about the same thing in today's episode. My plan today is to really make our base and our nuclear processing a little bit more robust. I've done some things in between episodes that I'm going to explain to you here in a minute that should help us grow our base even faster. It's going to make machine crafting even faster and just everything a little bit better. So let's hop right into it. First off, we got some cool new tools with the Dark Pick and the Ender, and upgraded about as much as I possibly could. And these are awesome. And alongside with this, I also added some travel anchors so we can finally zip around the base even faster. We also made some needed upgrades to the battery tower and added a few different hatches. We have the EV hatch, we also have an MV hatch, and an HV hatch. And what these are going to allow us to do is put these P2P tunnels on different tiered voltage machines other than the EV that we have of the coil and power them. So all we have to do is use this memory card and click on it and then click on the P2P tunnel on the machine, and we're going to get that type of power. So this is going to really expand our horizons of things we can use and ways we can power our machines. We also made some upgrades to our nuclear processing and switched out these single block machines for some LCRs. And with the help of applied Energistics and a lot of interfaces, we are able to make this stuff so much faster. And that's going to allow us to climb that nuclear ladder even more. In between episodes, I did kind of start and just kind of get a feel for it and what it all took, and got all the way up to plutonium. I did also learn that the waste that you get, the nuclear waste from these depleted fuels, is actually very powerful in getting ourselves a lot of the harder to get materials that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get, except for the advanced Plat line, which is also something that we're going to dabble in today. But for right now, let's hop back into the nuclear. Well, that was a long process, but it was a blast. And we got a lot of cool stuff out of it that we'll talk about here in a minute. Obviously, as you can see, we made some major upgrades to this area to allow this to work as efficiently as we could at the moment. I did have some more LCRs here to get ourselves nitrogen dioxide and nitric acid because, man, we needed a lot of that. So we have that set up here with a machine controller and an ME fluid level emitter to turn on only when we have less than 100,000 nitric acid. So it's very nice, so it doesn't chew through all of our stuff. That worked fairly well. We also added this room. I didn't even talk about this room, but this is one of my favorite rooms in the nuclear area. I added the super tanks with these digital interface covers to see all of our different hexachlorides. Or hexafluorides, actually. But I just think this is a super cool way to kind of display your fluids. It's off to the side here. We even had some stuff here for the while it's processing, kind of a little bit of a buffer. And the reason I did this is just to have a little bit more control over what gets processed. Because if anyone of you have done this process before, you know all the different types of things that you can get out of it. So it's just nice to have another level of control. So this is the last line of defense to decide what gets processed. So not too bad. Also, as you saw in the time lapse, we made this we made this large thermal centrifuge, and this thing is an absolute unit. We were able to get so much nuclear waste from this. This is awesome. And the reason I'm so excited about this is if we process this stuff down, we get a lot of chances at getting these different types of wastes. And each one of these can give us unique things in itself. Some of the coolest being in these metal groups, you hit U on this, you put it through the chemical dehydrator, and you can get yttrium, zirconium, niobium, ruthenium, molybdenum, rhodium, palladium, and silver. So you can get some really, really powerful dust just from processing down the nuclear waste. And to be honest, if we let this run even further and just continue to process all the materials that we still have yet to process, we could get so much of that nuclear waste. So I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time processing that down here with the help of our thermal centrifuge. I had to make an IV version here just to kind of finish the last of the recipes. I think it was Einsteinium is when you started to require the use of IV components in order to process them. Now, I have this machine here with EV components, so it's able to only do recipes up to 2048, even though it is you getting IV power. So we would have to upgrade the motor block, I believe, in there. Maybe it's the pump. I can't remember. But we'd have to upgrade that to IV to be able to process the last of our remaining stuff here. So we aren't able to process the fermium waste just yet. But everything else, we do have a way to process it. But it is super slow. So as soon as we get the ability to upgrade that machine to IV, we need to do that. Obviously, that process took a lot of time. And we were able to get a good amount of stuff done while this was being processed. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. Firstly, thanks to the help of this magic feather, we now have creative flight in our base. Very easy. I'm not sure how I missed this. I see it in the quest book now, but we have creative flight in our base, and it's super awesome. Now, all we need is that magic feather and a beacon, and we can really make a beacon and bring it around with us anywhere, and that's all that's required to get ourselves creative flight. So no more filling up our jetpack, every hour or so because it used a lot of energy. So now we can really fly truthfully and hover there and do some cool stuff as well. Also, as you can see, we moved our cracking unit. This machine here was just not able to keep up with the demands of the benzene that we needed. I even tried upgrading this advanced distillery to a EV version, but that still was just not quite enough. So what did we do? We moved it over to here, and this setup is an absolute gem. So, firstly, we dedicated this entire distillation tower to creating ourselves the benzene. And as you can see, we have 3 million benzene in here, and that's nothing because we went a step further and created ourselves the first tanks of Nitro-Benzene. So that's what this entire setup here is, to convert the benzene into Nitro-Benzene. So we are pretty close to being able to completely change our power system over into using Nitro-Benzene. And that's going to be super important for what we want to do next. In order to get the wood that was required, we kind of moved the stuff out of here. I need to do something with this room now. We don't even use this, so that's depreciated at this point. But what we did do is finally use the proper tree farm in the farming station. And it's a little bit overgrown right now. I think it's just because the buffers are full. But this thing is awesome. It produces more logs than we can even handle right now. If we head back down here, stuck in, there we go. If we head back down into here, you can see that it is getting more than we can even process. Now it gets backed up a little bit with spruce saplings. I tried adding a little bit of a filter, but every now and then it just kind of gets backed up here. So I'll have to figure out something and figure out why that's happening. But other than that, our power has just been leveled up, but not quite yet completely, because we're going to need to make more of these, which is something that I need to get done. And in order to make those turbines work as well as they possibly can, we're going to need some more exotic materials for the turbine blades. And I think what we're going to go for, as much as we can, is a large osmium turbine blade. So that's what we're going to go for. And you may be asking, how are we going to get the osmium? And that is where this waste comes in. Because if you go into the metal group B, you can see, metal group A rather, you can get some osmium out of this. You actually have a pretty good chance of getting it. But we need 9 of this metal group A, which itself is a chance to process from the nuclear waste. But once we do that, we should be able to build more turbines, get them with better, more efficient rotors, and generate even more power to fill our battery buffer. Because, man, that whole process almost completely drained all of our billions of EU. So we are slowly building back up now, but this just one large gas turbine is not going to be enough. And that was a nice little haul. We have nowhere near the amount of osmium that I was hoping we would have, but we should be able to make one of these medium turbines. So we'll gradually build that up as we process some of the higher tier materials in the nuclear chain to give us even more nuclear waste. And we'll even get some more from the Plat line. But until then, we are going to upgrade our power generation setup, not with the osmium turbines, but we're going to use something with rose gold turbines. So we've been slowly building up our supply of rose gold to start making ourselves these medium turbines. They have a much better efficiency, actually double the amount of our titanium rotors. However, they do not have as good of a durability, so they'll have to be replaced more often. But we have spots here to make 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of these large gas turbines. We only have enough for 6 right now, and we'll upgrade that as we see fit, but we should have everything we need to stack up these turbines and make even more. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right. Now that the power situation is taken care of, at least for the time being, we are slowly beginning to build up a buffer of power in our battery tower again, and we can move on. We can actually expand a little bit because of the power we're producing. Those rose gold turbines are very good. They produce about 50% more than the titanium turbines did, and I'm just waiting for the titanium one to slow down before we can put the osmium one in, and we'll get even more power. Now we can move over here to this area, and my plan for this area was to move all the Plat line over here. I have no idea if this is going to be enough space. This room will be kind of tall, but I have a couple ideas for a design that should make this look pretty cool. So let's hop right into that. With the base expansion finally out of the way, we can really get down to work here. And as you can see, I have done a lot of planning for things that we're going to need to get going here for the Plat line. So I have everything kind of blocked off in different sections. So this first part over here is all of the regular Plat line, and each area over here are different byproducts that we can get from the Plat line. So here we have osmium, this one's ruthenium, and then over here, I haven't labeled these yet, but I will get to that. On this side, we have iridium. Then we have a little bit extra space as well for when we need that. Also did some more decoration. I thought the chorus fruits here really fit the theme, so I think that looked pretty cool. So we did some more decoration, and more decoration will be done once we kind of finish the construction part of this, but I do kind of want to talk about this a little bit more. I made a basement because we're going to need a lot of these ME covered cables to get this thing working as efficiently as possible, and that is because I made a subnet. So I have a subnet here set up for the Plat line, so I have 4 4K item drives and 4 4K fluid drives, and we'll all be able to access that there. So this will operate completely independently from our main setup. We may end up having to bring over a couple of things from the main net over to here to get this thing up and running, but the idea is to have this thing completely self-sustaining and independent from the main net. So I guess what we're going to do now is kind of go ahead and start going through this and start building ourselves all of the multi-blocks that we're going to need and all the machines that we're going to need. This is going to be a lot of configuring, so let's just hop right into it. Sorry for that multi-block jump scare, but man, this is starting to look awesome. So this is the entire first beginning line of the Plat line that we already had up there. So we moved everything down into this room and kind of changed it up and made it more robust. And this is awesome. And then we continued to process some of this stuff, and this is what is considered the core line. So the initial step that you would have already completed plus the core line. This is going to help you get the dust and the fluids that you're going to need to continue to process down into the other materials. Now, this was no easy task by any means. If we go underneath, you can see all the cables, all the interfaces, and all of the configuring that I talked about in the last clip. But we are nowhere near done yet, but we have a good starting point and a good jumping off point to go into the next part. And this subnet has been, it has been awesome to have. So as you can see, we're starting to build up some interesting stuff here that we're gonna need. But yeah, that's awesome. My plan is to do a more detailed explanation of this on the next live stream that we do. So if you can catch that live, you'll probably hear me explaining that, but if you don't end up catching that live, I'm probably going to make a clip of me talking about this just for later use. So if you see that in the comments, you can go ahead or in the description, you can go ahead and watch that. But hopefully you can catch that in the next live stream. But the next thing that we need to get going on, and I think it's going to be super important, is right here, and this is going to be the Osmium. And thankfully, it looks right now like it's only a couple more extra machines. We're going to have to make a distillation tower and an LCR. But hopefully, if we've done everything correctly, we should be able to get a lot of osmium out of this. So let's hop right into that. That was simple enough. We have a cute little baby distillation tower helping us out here, making ourselves the osmium tetroxide. It's also going to make some hydrochloric acid as well, which is needed in this LCR to actually produce us our osmium. As we can see, it is going about processing all the acidic osmium tetroxide solution into some osmium. So slowly over time, we will build that up. There are some bottlenecks still. I believe it's hydrogen. This setup works best when you start from the beginning, because a lot of the byproducts are produced and will go into the system and help keep everything going. But there you go. There's one of the byproducts down, osmium. Moving on, I'm not really sure what we're going to do. I'm going to have to do some research and figure out which one I want to do next. I'm thinking I'll do Ruthenium, just because it's right here, because we'll just kind of work our way across. And hopefully it's easier than the other two, because these seem a little bit more complicated. But yeah, whatever I come back with, that's what we went with. So we went with Ruthenium as our next thing to set up, which was actually pretty fun. It was just this cracking unit, a couple LCRs, and another mini distillation tower. We also have this single block fluid solidifier, which is making the ruthenium tetroxide dust. So yeah, but it's becoming very clear that we're lacking a lot of the major inputs, especially in the forms of liquids. Hydrogen's hard to come by. It's not looping fully because of that. So I think we just keep feeding it until we have this entire system done, and then hopefully the outputs and the inputs will all take care of themselves. But to try to run this thing only partially finished is very, very hard to do. However, we are still able to do some of it. It is going pretty quickly. The osmium production is going decent. We have a lot of this stuff here that we're ready to process for the next line. Platinum's going up easily. Palladium, not too bad. But that's kind of going off of what I was talking about. We don't have
quite the amount of inputs that we need to continue this process all the way. But as we go, it should become easier and easier. So I think now we'll take our pick here, flip a coin, and decide on what we want to do again. The factory continues to grow, and our power continues to increase. We decided to go with the Iridium line because of the cool byproducts you can get from some of the dusts. This MSDRD dust, which was much too long for me to fit on the sign, is very useful. You can actually thermally centrifuge it to get gold. You also get silicon dioxide, which would be another cool source of silicone and oxygen. But no, this was so much fun to set up. It's a lot less daunting than I thought originally. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, but the complexity is not too bad. Not as bad as the cable would make it seem. But no, that was a lot of fun to set up. I really did enjoy that. We got a lot done today. Pretty much went through the entire nuclear line. We upgraded our power. We got some more gas turbines. Awesome. We even began to upgrade these into Osmium turbines. So the power will increase even more with the more of those that we get. But no, I'm super happy with the way this turned out. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna do this in today's episode. I'm actually gonna save this for our next stream in between the next episode. So I'll hop on stream and I'll finish this off with the help of you guys, and then we'll have this line completely done so we can progress in the next episode. We'll be firmly in IV, which is awesome. So cool to say, finally. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end this video off with some cool shaders. Well, guys, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This video took a long time to produce, and I want to give a special thanks to Nathan14321 on Discord, otherwise known as Rocarth on YouTube. You've probably seen him comment a few times. He was instrumental in the creation of this video, as he pretty much acted like my own personal GregTech teacher throughout this entire process. So hopefully I can take some of the lessons that I've learned and carry that into the next stages of this pack. But like I said, guys, this video took a long time to produce, so if you did like the video, please hit the like button. It goes a long way, and I really do appreciate every single one of you guys that likes and comments. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot of cool things coming. 25 episodes this series is going right now. I'm hoping to do something cool every 25 episodes, kind of like this one, but super awesome. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. It's been Eagle. Peace.